throw off any heat. It never varies. It never varies. What this means is you can take a chamber, super cool it, have a piece of purified metal in it, form it into a loop. So you have a loop of purified metal. Take a power source, run a charge into the loop, turn the power off, and the charge will cycle around the loop over and over, continuously, infinitely. Infinitely. Can you feel the presence of God? You see God in that? What's God? Infinite. This isn't theory. This is not theory. This is known, physical truth, as best as we can understand truth. Now, if you take an ordinary conductor, that would be like a piece of copper or a piece of silver, and you supercool it and you run the current through it, you'll get a decrease in the resistance, because that's what's happening. The resistance has been eliminated in the pure metal. But if you take an ordinary conductor and you supercool it, the resistance will go down. But it will not go down completely because of impurities in the metal. You and I were born as superconductors. We came into this world as superconductors of light and love. And I believe the only thing that comes in the way of our infinite flow, our flow without resistance, are impurities. I'm not talking about sin. I'm talking about the stories we create. The stories we create. Have you ever made up a story about someone else based on almost nothing? Making up a full story out of the cloth of complete fiction? Have you ever done that? I do it a lot. I am not proud to say that. If I said anything other than that, I would be lying. And I don't intend to continue to do it often. In fact, I'm now going through a transformational process, a specified process, one that we started here last weekend. It's the art and practice of living with nothing and no one against you. The purpose of that practice is to bring to an end what I'm doing. Because I'm doing it, nobody else is doing it. Those stories that we create out of nothing. It's so easy. And we don't do it maliciously. We don't do it because we don't like someone else. It can just happen. And it doesn't have to. It doesn't have to. The pattern can be broken. So that the flow is natural and continuous and infinite within us. The God that I comprehend does not create stories. God doesn't create stories. God's not up there writing novels. And you know when I say that, I mean, I'm not thinking of God as a person in a place. God says yes. God embraces. God doesn't create stories, and God doesn't resist the stories that we create. God says, you want to create that story? Go for it. I'm behind you all the way. And God is. God is behind whatever story we want to create. That's why we are such powerful beings. We get to choose the story. Now, part of you might be saying to yourself, aren't there some stories that I am justified in creating and sticking to? I mean, really, look at the facts. Look at what happened. Look at what they did to me. I have a right to this story. I have a right to stick to it. I have a right not to change it. In 1993, a man by the name of O'Shea Israel affected Mary Johnson's life. O'Shea Israel was a young man. He was at a party in Minneapolis. He got into a fight with another boy. And the fight ended when O'Shea shot and killed Mary Johnson's son and only child. He was caught and went to prison. Mary Johnson created a story about that man. This is the man who murdered her son. I think any one of us could find it easy to justify that story. God's Spirit was very much alive in Mary Johnson. She had created that story. It was her story for years. The Spirit of God never left her. It was powerful in her. And she was not limited by the resistance of the story she created. I'd like to share with you now 2.5 minutes of Mary Johnson's and O'Shea Israel's present story.
You and I met at Stillwater Prison. I wanted to know if you were in the same mindset as what I remember from court, where I wanted to go over and hurt you, but you were not that 16-year-old. You were a grown man. I shared with you about my son.
And he became human to me. You know, when I met you, it was like, okay, this guy is real. And then when it was time to go, you broke down and started shedding tears, and the initial thing to do was just try to hold you up as best I can. Just hug you like I would my own mother, you know.
After you left the room, I began to say, I just hugged the man that murdered my son. And I instantly knew that all that anger and animosity, all the stuff I had in my heart for 12 years for you, I knew it was over. That I had totally forgiven you.
As far as receiving forgiveness from you, sometimes I still don't know how to take it because I haven't totally forgiven myself yet. It's something that I'm learning from you. I won't say that I haven't learned yet because it's still a process that I'm going through.
I treat you as I would treat my son, and our relationship is beyond belief. We live next door to one another.
Yeah, so you can see what I'm doing. You know, firsthand. We actually bump into each other all the time, even in and out of the house. And, you know, our conversations, they come from, what happened? You ain't called over here to check on me in a couple of days. You ain't even asked me if I need my garbage to go out. I find those things funny because it's a relationship with a mother for real.
Well, my natural son is no longer here. I didn't see him graduate. You know, you're going to college. I'll have an opportunity to see you graduate. I didn't see him get married. Hopefully one day I'll be able to experience that with you.
And just to hear you say those things and to be in my life in the manner in which you are is my motivation. It motivates me to make sure that I stay on the right path. You still believe in me. And the fact that
There may be times that we kill mice, times that we kill mosquitoes. There may be times that we even kill one another. Yet we do not have to persist in creating the other. We do not have to persist in creating stories of resistance that separate ourselves from each other. And most importantly, we need to recognize, I believe, that the stories that we create and the resistance that we feel is really making the other out of ourselves. We separate ourselves from ourselves. And we can end that cycle. You and I can end that cycle. It's why we are here, to say it need not be. There is a better way. There is no other. There is nothing to resist. There is no one and nothing against me, ever. And so this week, I invite you into a practice. Each time you look into a mirror, make eye contact with yourself. And say as many times as you can, I love me. 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 Because love begins here. And then, without resistance, it spreads everywhere. That's God's way. Can I get an amen?